Hark! It's an 87th Precinct Podcast bonus episode. This is the bonus episode accompanying our main episode, all about Book 48 in the 87th Precinct series, which was Nocturne. And we will start, as usual, by having a look at the cover designs of the original releases in America and the UK, and a couple of other places, in fact, which, if you listen to the main episode, I slightly trailed in terms of my feelings about them, but I'm going to show to Morgan and Steve-O the cover of the US hardback edition to start with, and it's kind of significant in one way, because it's got an image on it that is in all the other editions. So if you can have a look at that, guys, and perhaps... Steve-O, do you want to describe that?
It's a black cover with silver writing, and other than that, very little on it, apart from there is a cocktail glass with a cherry on a cocktail stick, and that is the same image of the little ink drawing in our version that follows every chapter number.
Yes, there's a little cocktail glass symbol that's used throughout the book as a chapter marker.
Yeah, which is, a reasonably curious thing to have in both, given that it's where one character works.
Yeah.
You could have a fish.
or a rooster.
Or a car engine or something. So,
yeah.
So maybe nevertheless, makes you think about the nighttime world. You don't drink a martini or whatever it probably is.
It looks like a martini or something.
11 o'clock in the morning, do you?
Well, some people probably do.
Well, maybe the alcoholic lady in the book might. But,
yeah.
It's got the classic silvery lettering, raised lettering for the hardback edition. I'm going to show Morgan the paperback edition and get him to describe that, which I think it's an absolute travesty.
Oh, let's have a look at that.
Wow. Well, it's exciting stuff. So, some different Ed McBain lettering in red, Nocturne written on white on a red background, sort of a bit off-centre for some reason, and then the same cocktail glass.
That red thing curiously takes up loads of room.
It does.
Is it symbolic of something?
Blank sort of red space. I don't really know what it's meant to be, but there we have it.
It's crap.
I mean, that's one way of putting it, yes.
Maybe an improved thing with an Italian version.
Yeah, well, I am going to show you an Italian version, describe it. I mean, this American paperback edition is like... It's definitely, they've let the work experience kid loose on the desktop publishing package for that. It's rubbish. It's absolute rubbish. The Il Giallo Mondadori version, however, which I will demonstrate, I'll hold it up to my friends here.
Ooh.
Wow.
I've been sharing these for the past couple of stories at least, and so you'll be well used to the yellow background look of it and the fact that there's a circle in the middle with a scene, with a scene from the story in. In this case, they've gone back to a more sort of... it almost looks like a pencil drawing design, coloured pencil design, of what I'm taking to be the sex worker Yolando's killed in it, I assume. But it's basically an image of one woman in an alleyway somewhere. Mm. And, so that's a bit more enigmatic than either of the American versions.
Doesn't necessarily... really captured too much specifically about the story, but it makes you want to read it a bit more, definitely.
Yeah. And I will also describe the Hayakawa Pocket Mystery Book from Japan, which I'm going to show to the chaps now. These will all be available on our Instagram as usual.
Yeah, I'm enjoying these abstractions on the Japanese editions. They're great.
I don't remember the scene with an octopus in. Maybe that's the fish market.
Oh, yes. Well, as usual, it's a sort of abstract oil design with the letters, symbols for 87 scratched into it as well. Yeah, I can't make out a particular... whether it's supposed to represent anything. Oh, by the way, if you can hear the rain outside, that's because, A, we're all in a room together, and we've had to have the window open a little bit because it's been the hottest day of the year so far, but now it is tipping down with rain. So if that's just there for ambience, if you can hear that. And if you can't, then please imagine it. But yeah, the Japanese ones, I really like them. I would love a collection of those on your shelves. They would look amazing.
Yeah, they're really cool.
Yeah, abstract and clever. And funnily enough, I've also got a French-Canadian edition, which is...
Is that just a generic city scene?
Yeah, it's one
With
of
a
the New York
bridge.
bridges, isn't it?
Yeah.
So...
With a cloud like the cloud in Ghostbusters 2 above it.
it does look a little bit like that, yeah. It's just a nighttime scene of New York, because it's got the Twin Towers in it. And it says Roman suspense on it, which is, just means mystery, crime mystery book.
Yeah.
So there you go. We've not had a French-Canadian one before, have we? So.
No.
And our own editions, the reason I've not got a picture of the British hardback edition is because it's just a bigger version of the thing that we've all got in our hands, which is the UK paperback, which I will hand over to Morgan to describe.
Yeah, here we go. New English Library phoning it in. So we've got the silver McBain at the top, and then going down the centre, we've got Nocturne in sort of black lettering with a sort of glowing aura behind it.
Yeah.
And then just sort of a very sort of faint kind of, I guess it's sort of like a city scene, I think. There's the fronts of various sort of
There's
businesses.
a person there.
There is a person
Yeah, I've just
lurking
noticed
somewhere.
that now from a close inspection.
There's some
tilting
kind
into
of
the light.
person lurking somewhere towards the bottom. I can't really see.
No, I've never seen them before.
We just get the general idea of it's some kind of street scene, I think, isn't it?
And that thing presumably is Nocturne is like a neon sign in a vertical.
I assume that's what it's
Might be affixed to a building
evoking.
or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, the hardback edition is just that, but bigger.
It's a curious title. Does it actually specifically mean something?
Well,
Something of the night?
Yeah, a nocturne, where I've come across it before, is in terms of classical music
Yeah.
pieces. For example,
Well, what does it mean in that?
well, I think it essentially is that. I think it's about darkness. I think it's about nighttime. I think it's about.
Only play this note after 9 p.m.
It's just a piece of music that sort of represents nighttime, I guess.
Right.
Do you think?
Yeah, or an artistic composition of some format.
Yeah.
So as in nocturnal, essentially. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's a good title for the notion. He's decided to set it as a nighttime book.
Yeah.
So it works. It works really.
does.
And then I think there's also something a bit melancholic about nocturne as a phrase as well. It's not a brand new day dawning type thing. It's the very opposite of that.
Yeah.
It's the day dying.
Definitely. It doesn't seem to have inspired the cover designers particularly, though, sadly.
No.
No,
They must have thought, what does that mean? Just
yeah, just make it look like it's had its ready break, and it'll be okay. There's a
probably
reference
should,
for
should
you.
the whoever was in charge just probably said, "Oh, just make it vertical. That'll do."
Yeah. So we're not overwhelmed with the brilliance of these designs, are we?
But disappointingly, it is nowhere near the worst.
That's also true.
Yeah, indeed.
Compared to the last 20 years of output, that's probably slightly above average.
Yes, I think this paperback edition is probably one of the better ones.
Solid mid-table performance, yeah.
Yeah.
Must be one of the longer ones because it is definitely. I know I sound stupid here, but it's definitely got smaller writing than a lot of them, hasn't it?
Yes, it does.
Especially for this era.
It's a paperback that runs to 291 pages with tiny writing. Although I will say, the way they've typeset it as well is they've basically not used about, I don't know, a fifth of each page, because if they'd have just made it a bit bigger, their margins and gutters on this are very, very wide, aren't they?
This is true.
But the question that I'm not going to forget to ask is, how does it smell?
Oh,
and I'm going in first.
Oh, my lord. Very keen there.
Barely of anything in the case of mine.
They should all smell identical. Well,
No, they should, really. We haven't actually drilled down.
There's a... Yeah, it doesn't
What a noise!
doesn't smell of much, that.
No.
I've got a bit of a hay fevery, bunged up nose, so whether I'll be able to smell anything
if
at
you
all,
can.
let's see. There's just a little hint of something there, but it's subtle. Very subtle.
I get the feeling these were probably produced in great quantity, but actually the stock of paper on this isn't too bad, I don't think. It seems they all seem in pretty similar condition, don't they?
It certainly doesn't smell of the night, anyway.
True.
No one wants to smell of night soil. Okay, well, that being that, let's get into some stuff about 1997. And I'll run us through some music stuff. Oh, Steve-O's doing a forensic examination there.
Seeing if they're slightly different prices or, slightly...
I think they were all
sometimes
probably
they look
$5.99, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, not if you're in Australia.
Oh. No.
$14.95.
Brutal.
Yeah, anyway, right, let's get to some music from the 15th of May. What's that? Flipping heck, I've forgotten the date now. I have to scroll all the way back up my pad for this, you see now. 15th, I was right as well. 15th of May, 1997. I've had a look at the top 10s in America. And the UK, and I'll start with the UK, so usual thing, drop in with a little comment if you've got any thoughts. We should all remember... I mean, this is essentially the music just before we go off to university,
We should be all over this, shouldn't we, really?
Yeah.
Thing is, probably into music that was released about 25 years before this, but
That's
never mind.
Also true.
Yeah. No, number 10 in the UK is Bellissima by DJ Quicksilver. And I bet you we know it, but I don't know the name.
I imagine, if it came on, you'd be like, oh, it's that one. But, yeah, you'd never known the title.
But at number 9, a new entry, Susan's House by Eels.
Going over to Susan's house, I can't be alone tonight. Nice, yeah.
I like it, but I still don't believe it's a top 10 song. It's baffling that's...
It's a very odd song, isn't it? It's kind of weird that it was a single in the first place, really.
Yeah. It's very odd. Although, I'll tell you what, I do associate Eels with going to university because in the student bar in my halls of residence, which I only went to a couple of times, Novocaine for the Soul was on all the time. It was being played everywhere. I don't remember Susan's House, but I remember Novocaine for the Soul very much. Number 8 is Kowalski by Primal Scream.
I remember it existing. I can't really remember what it sounded like. It was a bit of a no tune.
Yeah. At number 7, this is not the Patrick Swayze North and South, but it's North and South with I'm a Man, Not a Boy.
Oh, they were like a boy band, but they had instruments a bit. I think one of them played the keyboard, one of them maybe played the guitar. He had slightly punky hair.
Yes, they were sort of...
Where were they from the north and south of?
Who knows? I haven't got that information to hand, I'm afraid.
I feel like they might have even had their own TV show. I'm not sure.
I remember I'm a Man, Not a Boy. It was quite high energy, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Number 6, Love Won't Wait by Gary Barlow.
God, if only it's had.
Well, you say that, you think that's the worst crime on this list, because we get to number 5 with literal crimes from R. Kelly with I Believe I Can Fly.
Good grief.
Yeah.
Yeah. Number 4, You Might Need Somebody by Shola Ama.
Oh, okay, yeah. The Randy Crawford song, yeah.
Yeah, that was a huge hit, wasn't it? Now, I don't remember this. Number 3, Damage with Wonderful Tonight.
Oh, yeah. Like
is that a cover of the Clapton?
It is, in a kind of smooth R&B boy band style.
Oh, right, no, that rings a horrible bell.
Yeah, like Boys to Men style Eric Clapton cover, if you can imagine anything worse.
Oh, dear. And at number 2, Love Fool by Cardigans.
Oh, yeah,
Marvellous.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant song from a brilliant album.
Okay.
And at number 1, You're Not Alone by Olive.
Oh, yeah, you're not alone.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
Wait till the end of time.
Yeah. See, Morgan's on fire now. It's all synapses and memories. And let's see how we fare with the American top 10.
Probably dreadfully.
So at number 10, someone or something called Rome.
Oh.
I Belong to You, brackets, Every Time I See Your Face.
But not the rest of the time.
No. If you turn away from me, I'm a free agent.
Never heard of it.
No, never heard of it. 9 is Hard to Say I'm Sorry by As Yet, AZYET, featuring Peter Cetera.
Oh, because it's so someone covering Chicago or with the guy from Chicago guesting, I guess, but I don't know anything about that cover.
And at number 8, Paula Cole asks the universal question, where have all the cowboys gone?
Oh, I do remember that one, yeah.
Where have they gone?
Big hat shopping.
Yeah.
That was an odd record.
Okay, number 7, Puff Daddy featuring Mace, Can't Nobody Hold Me Down.
Somebody somewhere probably can.
Probably.
6, Savage Garden with I Want You. That was a great reaction. 5, Monica with For You I Will from Space Jam.
Oh.
And again, I'd say this about the time we're living in now being a hangover from the late 90s.
Yeah.
There's a new Space Jam film coming out. So, which is baffling. Number 4, Foolish Games / You Were Meant For Me by Jewel.
Doesn't ring a bell.
I presume that's not a cover of the Freddie and the Dreamers song on the B-side.
I really hope it is.
At number 3, Return of the Mac by Mark Morrison.
Oh.
Now we all know that one.
All that business.
So he did very well to get that high on the US charts. That's presumably after Over Here. Don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It
was a big hit, that, though.
He was a pretty big deal. Yeah, he got signed to Death Row Records and everything, I think, over in the States. He was, people took him quite seriously.
Leicester's finest.
Yeah.
Up there with Willie Thorne.
I think I seem to remember him getting in trouble with the law because he committed a minor misdemeanor and was given community service and then just paid someone to go and do it for him.
Yeah.
On the subject of stupid criminals.
He was of the Johnny Cash school of pretending to be some sort of proper, like, ex-con kind of guy, and yet probably just...
It was, I don't know, like some kind of parking violation or something.
Anyway, at number 2, who can forget Mbop by Hanson?
Well, nobody.
Nobody who lived through those days.
Indeed.
Because that was ubiquitous.
Oh,
that
yes.
was everywhere. Such long, straight hair they had.
They really did.
And at number 1, it was Hypnotised by the Notorious B.I.G.
Yeah, I don't think either Biggie or Sean Puffy Coombs really made their way over to like our mainstream for a little bit.
No.
After that, did they?
No. I mean, this is... hip-hop and rap at the time was full of a string of significant deaths, I think, wasn't it? So
there was
which helped sort of make the scene more noticeable worldwide, I think.
Yeah, it was the proper East and West Coast rivalry going on at the time, wasn't there?
Yeah, so, I mean, I didn't note down much more from 1997 in terms of music, but I did want to mention, obviously, 1997 is the year of Elton John doing Candle in the Wind following the death of Diana, which became, I think, the second biggest single ever sold. But, you know, that talk about ubiquitous, you couldn't move for that. But, most importantly, everybody loves Pat Boone, don't they?
Of course.
1950s/60s light version of rock and roll and crooning, sort of nice guy.
Definitely. You want to hear Tutti Frutti without the syncopation? That's your man.
Well, exactly that. And that's why in 1997 he puts out an album called In a Metal Mood, No More Mr. Nice Guy.
I remember hearing about it. I think Dweezil Zappa played the guitars on it.
Oh, really? Oh, fantastic. I'm going to have to look that up because the idea of Pat Boone doing a load of metal covers is...
marvellous.
Is great.
Exit lights. Enter night. Take my hand. We're off to Never Never Land.
So there you go. That's some music stuff, and we'll come to our own personal musical choices from there or thereabouts in a bit, and get on to movies. Oof, indeed. Top 10 highest grossing films worldwide of 97. Must be able to guess some of these.
Tomorrow Never Dies. I saw that was 1997.
It was, and it was the 4th highest grossing.
4th, right.
Was there a Jurassic Park?
There was The Lost World, Jurassic Park, which was the 2nd highest grossing film of the year.
I did also see, whether it was being there, maybe top 10, very ridiculous film, but quite entertaining. Face Off.
It didn't make it into the top 10, but that was out in 97.
It was quite a big film, though.
I remember it being pretty big at the time, yeah.
It did have 2 actors who were just clearly told, just act your tits off in this film. And like, overact as much as you possibly can.
Much scenery was chewed.
Yes.
And, they clearly must have had a lot of fun making that film because it's very silly.
It's so silly.
Yeah. No.
Right,
No,
all
I
right.
think the big films were very big. I think that's why, so you could have a film like Face Off, which probably made quite a lot of money, but it not get anywhere near the top 10.
Ooh, right.
Because
Give us a clue.
Well, it involves a ship.
Oh, God.
Oh, Titanic.
Yes.
God.
Oh, yeah. You see, I've never seen it, so I would have just totally never thought about that.
It just outgrossed everything massively.
Yeah, I did see it eventually.
What happens?
Can't remember. Yeah.
Yeah. Funnily enough, I've never seen Titanic.
I've seen Raise the Titanic now. That is an exciting film.
Raise
and
the
I'll
Titanic, yeah.
just want to kind of, a bit of a spoiler, they raise it.
It's more like it, isn't it? That's what you want.
Right, anyway, you've got Titanic's number 1, Lost World Jurassic Park number 2, Men in Black is number 3.
Oh, yeah.
Still making Men in Black films, more or less, I think. Was it this year or last year? Or something?
Men in Black International there was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Austin Powers!
Well,
Just remember Austin Powers came out in 1997.
Well, it didn't get in the top 10.
Didn't it? Blimey, the big
Was
one
this
must have been
US
really big.
or...
This is worldwide.
Oof.
Yeah, I bet that was a massive smash in this country and then maybe
Yeah.
not actually that much elsewhere.
Yeah, I believe it was massively edited for overseas sales as well, so it didn't quite work.
Oh.
Tomorrow Never Dies. Air Force One.
I remember people going on about it. I've never seen it.
No, As Good as It Gets,
Oh, yeah.
which I quite like. As Good as It
Yeah,
Gets.
it's pleasant, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably not... I enjoyed it for the comedy relationship aspect at the time in a way that I'd never really enjoyed sort of rom-commy type thing. But I suppose now, actually, when you look back at it in terms of how how he's portraying a person with OCD, it's probably way off.
Yeah, I imagine it might be not okay.
No. So number 7, Liar Liar,
Oh, God.
which I'm sure I watched on VHS at a friend's house in a student flat in Birmingham when I was visiting him, going to see Blur.
It's one of those films that I've seen in sort of various bits every time it comes on ITV over many years. I've never sat down and watched the whole thing, I don't think.
Number 8, My Best Friend's Wedding. Yeah. Number 9, The Fifth Element,
Oh, yeah.
which is fascinating. It's a fascinating movie. It's got some really irritating bits in it, but it also looks like nothing else, and it's got some amazing acting in it. It's got some amazing design. It's mad that it was that big, actually. And at number 10, The Full Monty,
Oh, gosh,
which is my mother's favourite film.
Brass bands.
She
Yorkshire.
likes men undressing in the north, essentially. What didn't make it into the top 10 is films such as Leprechaun 4 in Space.
Well,
Just by a whisker.
Yes.
yeah, number 11, that.
Yeah. Alien Resurrection came out that year,
Yeah.
which we went to see in the cinema, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
I like Alien Resurrection.
I really like it. I'm a big. I think what would the kids say now? I stan Alien
Yes,
Resurrection.
yeah, me too. Con Air.
Con Air.
Can't remember
That's
what
quite-
that's all about.
I remember we
that
went
being
to the
quite-
cinema to watch Boogie,
Boogie
Nights,
Nights.
Yes, that came out in 97.
She's a corker.
which was really good. And we also went to see The Jackal, which is a remake
Oh,
of
we saw that in the ABC, didn't we?
Yeah, which was dreadful.
It was dreadful. I love the ABC. The Jackal, dreadful.
We were like really high up in there.
We were. It was
I never
marvellous.
went to the ABC. For our listeners, the ABC cinema is a huge cinema right in the middle of Liverpool that has now been defunct for, 20 years?
I would say so,
Easily,
yeah.
It was, it's a beautiful, sort of proper old, one gigantic auditorium.
And is now just it's labelled that it's going to become some, shops and entertainments and things, but it's been like that for probably 10 years.
Yeah.
So anyway, there you go. It's a story across many places. And for our Australian friends, 1997 sees the release of the Wiggles movie.
Ooh.
So there you go. I'm sure you're all big fans of that. So, a few quick TV things before we get into our own personal picks. In the UK, we get... I mean, if anyone's not seen this and they like cleverly plotted mysteries, Jonathan Creek starts in 1997,
All right.
which is an exceptionally well-written show. It's,
Yeah, I could never get into it, really.
Yeah, I've never really given it a go.
it is amazingly well-written. It's the cleverness of the writing is unbelievable, but it's worth a look. We get I'm Alan Partridge starts,
Hey.
which I'm sure is probably known. I think Alan Partridge has translated a little bit worldwide. I don't know how much, but he's very well loved here and still on TV to this day. My hangover from Theory still working. Something that isn't on TV these days is a thing called Stella Street,
Oh, yeah, that was very good, yeah.
which is about as low budget as you could get.
The Rolling Stones, Mick Jagger and Keith Richards running a corner shop.
Yes, indeed.
Which was frequented by lots of other celebrities.
It was a very low-budget comedy made by two impressionists, John Sessions and Phil Cornwell. John Sessions died a couple of years ago now, I think, or last year. And it was... So basically, it was a street populated with all these celebrities, as if they all just, for some reason, lived on a suburban street somewhere. And it was very stupid and very brilliant and a lot of fun. Worth going back to. And we have Brass Eye, which is a fantastic comedy with massive controversy over quite a difficult episode. It's a show that I have shown a lot of American touring bands who come over here. Yeah, there was quite a lot of controversy over that. But the best parts of that are absolutely brilliant. And a show, right, let me explain this. In 1996... we got a new Doctor Who. We got Paul McGann in a TV movie, Doctor Who, official stuff, came out, sort of revitalised people's interest in the programme, which, as I've explained in the past, I love. And then nothing else happened. In 1997, despite no one wanting to make Doctor Who, the BBC make a programme called Crime Traveller, where people use time travel.
They did! They did!
dawning realisation.
With the guy who was in El Dorado.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which we've discussed in the past as
a
flop.
Yeah, it was quite good though, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't.
I don't remember this at all.
Yeah,
I feel like you're just making this up.
Yeah.
I wish I was.
Oh, no. It was alright, that.
Anyway. So, let's go to America. So I've got a good selection here. So in terms of hard-hitting police stories, we've got Police Academy, the series.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yes, only contained Michael Winslow from the original films and no one else. We have a kids' TV show called The Weird Al Show,
Brilliant.
which is simply one of the best bits of television ever made. Which, if it had been shown over here, would have been a student hit because it's like, oh gosh, it's brilliant. It's all on YouTube, really, so it's worth looking up. It's very, very funny. We have the animation King of the Hill.
Marvellous.
Which I've not seen for years, but
that was very good, wasn't it?
Yeah, I love that.
We also have some other animation. I've mainly noted down animation. This tells you more about my state of mind in 1997, going to university but thinking about cartoons. I noted down a couple from the Cartoon Network, which obviously wasn't on terrestrial TV on here, but people were starting to get satellite, and they'd occasionally get across. Johnny Bravo, Cow and Chicken, and I Am Weasel, all of which are brilliant. Really, really good cartoons. But more significantly, starting in America in 1997 is Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yes, indeed, of course.
Which, certainly for Morgan and I, well, my memory of it is basically after we'd left university and our friend Louise, who we lived with, using her discount at work to bring home the VHSs of this and us just having marathons of watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer on the VHS in the front room of our dreadful flat on Prince's Road.
Gigantic wall of VHS box sets.
Yes, indeed.
I think I've got the entire thing on one small little box of DVDs now.
Yes, it's daft, isn't it?
Where did you stand on the spin-offs then?
Never watched them, really.
I think I've seen the first series of Angel.
Thumbs down.
Yeah, I mean, it was alright, but I couldn't really be bothered.
Righto. Well, there you go. That's everything important in 1997. I did say when I mentioned to you guys about choosing your picks, if you felt that 1996 was important to you, because we skipped it, you can pick from that. But I think I will go to Steve-O for his picks for music and movies from this period.
Right, well, I stuck to 97. I was true to the concept. So what do you want first?
Well, let's do music first.
Right, well, I couldn't make my mind up on music, but then I did notice that, these weren't bands that I particularly knew then, really, and I was 1 month out on being able to get Neutral Milk Hotel as my choice. And that was February 1998, which I was disappointed about, because as soon as you said 97, I was like, Aeroplane Over the Sea came out then, but it didn't.
Well, I'll give you a
I was wrong about that one.
A special commendation for that because we'll be skipping 98 between now and the next book, so you're allowed to mention that.
So then I thought, well, who shall I go for? And I thought, well, they released some of their best albums round then. So that would be Fu Manchu, and they released The Action Is Go in 97, which is a bit of a rip snorter, in my opinion.
Yes, you got into Fu Manchu, didn't you?
Yeah,
Quite
but
a
not
heavy
in
man,
1997, so I would be probably be about 4 years after that, I would think.
When you randomly picked a thing from the TV guide, you picked a Fu Manchu movie.
I did.
Oh,
It's all linking together.
yeah. Wheels within wheels.
And then 96 they had In Search Of as well, so they were their run of good albums in 3 years before they went a bit naff.
I have a feeling I might even have seen them at Reading Festival 97, or it might have been 98, I'm not sure. I remember, lots of hair and full Marshall stacks, none of these half stacks, but big wall of ludicrous.
Yeah, no, so they would have played up to some sort of retro surfer stoner rock. Yeah, good fun.
Excellent stuff. And
Yes.
what was your pick for a movie?
Right,
then?
well, I had a look at a fair few things, and so I wrote a little thing to remind me. So, yeah, there's quite a few. So I mentioned Boogie Nights. Nothing I saw in the cinema that year. So which one shall I go for? I think I will go for... But you're not allowed to ask me what on earth happens in this film, because it is so confusing and I can't possibly explain to anyone. But I'm going to go for Lost Highway, I think.
Oof,
Which is one of those films that is just like really, really creepy, and you watch it and it's just really an unpleasant experience.
It's not David Lynch, is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, it is. All
And
right.
it's just full of really odd people doing odd things, and you're supposed
That's kind of his...
you're supposed to think,
forte.
am I really stupid for not really knowing what on earth's going on in this film, or is it like really profound and actually none of that really actually matters? I don't think.
It's just like being caught in a really odd dream. It sort of doesn't matter whether you really know what's happening or not. It's just the experience,
sensation
really.
as much as anything
So,
else.
I saw that again, maybe like 18 months ago, something like that, and it was, still kind of did what you remembered it to do. But I think a special commendation to Jackie Brown as well, which is always one of my favourite Tarantino films, which is a good, Elmore Leonard kind of great caper kind of,
it's cracking. Although he does change a few significant things, he keeps quite a lot of the dialogue from the novel kind of pretty much exactly as it is, and it kind of shows how much Tarantino's influenced by Elmore Leonard, because it really feels like he's written it, I think, as well.
Yeah, and like lacks a lot of the gratuitousness of some of like Tarantino's other films, which I think's
Pam Grier.
Yes, it's got a bit more heart to it than some of his other stuff, I think.
and it's good, like good twisty-turny plot that you never, as a viewer, really sure what on earth's going on until it's the end, and it's always a bit of a I always really like Michael Keaton in that film. I always think he's very good.
Oh yeah, I forgot he was in it.
As
But
one of the coppers, yeah,
he's great.
So they're my two anyway.
Excellent stuff. Right, I'll go to Morgan then for his music pick for 90 whatever you've chosen.
I don't know what you're going to go for, but I had a couple I was considering
Go on.
between. I'm going to go for Dig Me Out by Slater Kinney.
Excellent choice.
Because it's amazing. I don't think I actually discovered them properly until just before the next album, The Hot Rock, came out. But then immediately went back and...
we mentioned the Hot Rock earlier as well.
We did.
That's all
we
tying
did indeed.
Two Hot Rocks.
But I just went back and got that album, Dig Me Out, which is still my second favourite. It's a lot of people's favourite, my second favourite. But it's an absolute corker, punk, but indie rock, but really poppy, but really feminist, but it kind of ticks a lot of boxes. It's great stuff.
It is. I mean, those albums around then are just fantastic. Almost all Slater Kinney albums are fantastic, but those especially.
The first one with Janet Weiss on drums, so you can really feel the kind of excitement of that new lineup of the band, and it's absolutely great.
Excellent. So yes, well, I heartily endorse that one. What about your movie pick then?
Well, I considered trying to pick something cool, and then I thought, no, I'm just going to go back and talk more about Alien Resurrection, because I do feel like it gets a really unfair slagging off from a lot of people. It's, I think, my favourite of the whole Alien franchise.
Excellent stuff.
Mainly because
Steve-O's face.
because it's just.
That's the really boring one, isn't it?
No, it's the one that's the Poseidon Adventure in space. It's ace. It's Jean-Pierre Jeunet directs the Poseidon Adventure in space, but with aliens and robots.
Yeah, and all the cast that he puts in all his other films as well.
Absolutely, yeah, and that kind of colour scheme that you always get with his things. So it really looks like one of his films. Kind of feels like one, but with Winona Ryder as a cool robot and. Yeah, bits that are definitely just the Poseidon Adventure in space.
And it gives Sigourney Weaver a chance to do something slightly different with the character as well, which I thought was great. I think you and I are perhaps going to be the last bastion of defending Alien Resurrection.
Yeah, I can't really talk from any... Yeah, because I'm fairly sure I've not seen it for 24 years, maybe. But, yeah.
All the more reason to watch it now.
Well, maybe, yeah.
No, well, I'm happy with that.
Does it ever do the rounds on telly, or is it one of those films?
Once in a while, but not.
Well, I will look out for it and report back.
Okay, that's good. You do that. Right, better get on to my picks then. See, to me, 1997, a lot of this now, I mean, I'm not apologising, but I kind of am to our listeners in that, frankly, because...
He's going to pick that McCartney album that they released in 1997.
But I'm just going to say to our listeners,
wasn't it?
Because we're now entering a period where we all sort of got together in a lot of like significant life events that I remember, like as firsts and things. Yes, I'm picking McCartney's Flaming Pie.
Oh, Flaming Pie, I knew it.
From 1997.
I don't know why I thought it was a flower. Yeah, I knew it had a bit of a...
I think you were thinking of.
Yeah,
oh,
maybe,
yeah, that was an earlier one. But yeah, Flaming Pie was the album that Paul McCartney did off the back of sort of... They'd done the anthology stuff, and it sort of revitalised his Beatlesiness, as it were. I mean, yes, a lot of it is produced by Jeff Lynne, which I'm not mad keen on.
On the plus side. Is there any robot overlords on it?
No, there's no synthesised voices on it, fortunately. There's just that awful drum sound. And it's made up of a few songs that go back to the 70s and then that he's done. But it's just, like so much McCartney stuff, it's absolutely jam-packed with gems, and sometimes you have to strip away some of the production choices in your mind for it. But it's a great album. And one thing I remember about it and why it's so significant is, apart from me loving McCartney, and I had it on tape, but our dear friend, Mr. Richard Parry, who was the first person I met at university, really, or one of the very first people I met at university because he's in our halls, he had it on CD and he had all the CD singles and stuff. And it's like, you're collecting all this, there's all this extra stuff you can buy. And it was. So it represents to me my love of McCartney, but also moving to university and meeting Richard in his really horrible room at university.
Well, it was a horrible room, that.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's my music pick. I could have picked something, but I probably would have picked that Sleater Kenny album if I was going to pick anything else from 97. But that would be retrospective, whereas Flaming Pie is...
Yes, it was retrospective, a bit of a cop-out, really.
Well, movie-wise, I've got a couple of choices down here. I mean, one thing I didn't mention, and I've only seen a couple of times, is Romy and Michelle's High School Reunion.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a brilliant film. It was so much better than I expected it to be. And I can watch that over and over again. But 1997 also sees the release of Waiting for Guffman.
I thought you might go for that.
A Christopher Guest film. A film about an amateur dramatics production.
Oh,
and the Guffman in question is an agent from New York they think is going to come and see about taking their show. The main character, Corky St. Clair, in it. It's full of these amazing lines, amazing characters. It's full of heart, as these things often are. Probably more than any of them, really. Not only do you get the story of them putting this play on, but of course you get to see the play musical in it as well. That's in there. Nothing ever happens on Mars, and it's wonderful. It's unlike most of those Chris Guest things. It's one of the ones you can watch over and over again and just get something out of it every time.
Yeah, I can't remember anything about that, but I'm absolutely certain I have watched it. They're always very good. Has it got the guy who passed away a couple of years
Fred
ago?
Willard.
Fred Willard in.
Yes.
Certainly
He's
does,
always my absolute favourite in
yeah.
those.
It's got all the classic cast, isn't it? Fred Willard, Parker Posey.
Yes. Parker Posey, who I saw in New York when we were visiting.
Yeah.
Eugene Levy's in it, and gosh, oh no, it's brilliant. There's just so many lines. It does contain... No, I don't want to say them all. Just doing impressions. But anyway, that's my choice. That's
very good one.
I want to go and watch it now. Yeah, so there we go. There's some picks from 1997. Yeah, next time it will be a case of us choosing from 99 or 98 if we so feel. Anyway, because the next book we are going to do is Big Bad City, which is the 49th of the 87th Precinct books. So I hope you'll all join us for that. Hopefully we'll still be doing this in person. It'll have to be some sort of terrible crisis befall us if we can't get together inside houses again, which has been a joy. So yes, apologise if we're rambling and a bit silly because it's the first time we've been together to do it and actually see each other whilst recording, which has been lovely. So until next time, I'm going to say au revoir, mes amis, and Steve-O is going to say...
Silly, goodbye.
And Morgan...
Very well.
Bye!